Hi, this is Dylan from the Black Dog Video After Dog, fuck that right up. Hi, this is Dylan from the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, and welcome to our Good Son episode. It's terrific. There was just one little snafu when we were transferring the information. We lost about 50% of the footage, but what's left is still really great, so we decided to go ahead with this podcast anyway. Unfortunately, that means it's going to stop rather abruptly. Also, this episode does deal with some subject matter that some people may find triggering, specifically violence related to children. If this is the kind of thing that you don't find entertaining and you'd rather not hear about it, please listen to any of our other great episodes, and thank you for listening. Black Dog After Dark is recorded in a video store by people who have been drinking. We swear a lot, and there's spoilers. It's not safe for work, unless you work in a video store and have also been drinking.
I saw Cannibal Holocaust when I was 4.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
Behind his smile lies a secret.
Hey, Mark, come on, let's go. Where are we going?
Behind his eyes lies a plan.
Who is he?
And behind the image of a good son lies the terrifying truth.
Say goodbye. You could have killed people. What if there was this boy? And he did these terrible things because he liked doing them. Wouldn't you say he was evil?
I don't believe in evil.
You should.
When innocence is just a mask.
Do you really think I'd hurt her?
When trust becomes a weapon.
If I let you go, you think you could fly?
Macaulay Culkin, the good son.
As always,
What's tonight's movie? Or we should introduce ourselves.
we'll introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Who are you?
I am Darren Gay. I'm the owner, founder, and grand poobah of this fine, lonely establishment.
It's alone. Well,
Yeah,
now it's lonely.
It's lonely because we're the last one in town.
And I'm sitting to your left. I am Dylan Reimer. I'm an employee of of the Grand Poobah, stand-up comic and resident of East Vancouver.
I was going to say Resident Evil.
I'm Alex Chisholm, Sergeant at Arms.
Oh.
Black Dog Video.
Nice one.
Yes.
And so, Alex, you're the one who picked the movie.
The movie is The Good Son, starring Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood. Semi-notorious, at least at the time, early 90s movie, 1993. And the reason I picked it, I remembered the controversy about it, and there was some controversy when the film actually came out. But I didn't actually see the film. I ignored it when it came out. I remembered the controversy. I totally ignored it.
Was it too controversial for you?
No, it wasn't anything to do with
Devils?
that. I just wasn't into, Macaulay Culkin movies. I was like in college when it came out.
Who could even like that guy?
And I just, well, I can like him.
I can't I really grew to dislike him watching this movie.
But
the Culkhead.
I picked it because I ignored the film when it came out. I remember the controversy. And then about 2 years ago, I think, or a year ago, we actually got it in our stock here. And I figured, what the hell, I'll take a look at this. And I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it as just what it is, a piece of 90s exploitation, child exploitation.
Well, it's a piece of something.
Child exploitation.
A trashy exploitation film in which the Shirley Temple of his era is presented as a cold-blooded sociopath. Just because of Home Alone, but he was still a hot property.
And Home Alone 2.
And Home Alone 2.
Home Aloner, is that what it's called?
Sure.
Yeah.
And never mind. I was about to bring up the porno versions, and I realized how wildly inappropriate that is. Darren, what's your first memory of The Good Son?
My first memory of The Good Son was when I watched it a few days ago.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, I did not remember seeing this movie at all until the final scene. And it's like, oh, I've seen this. I know how this works. I know how this pans out.
Are you sure you hadn't just seen the final scene?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I had. I don't remember anything about it, so I have no recollection. I have no past experience. I have no memory of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So no memory of where you saw it on a plane?
Nope.
Or maybe
it could have been a plane. It could have been a train. It could have been a boat. It could have been in a moat.
Could have been a goat.
Could have been on a goat.
Could have been on the whatever. So. And my memory is,
something?
I only know this movie by reputation. I think maybe I saw it on like a Sunday afternoon or whatever. Again, I always talk about it on the podcast, Channel 20.
You only watch movies on Sunday afternoons, don't you?
Sunday afternoons and at like after midnight, and always on Channel KVO, or not KVOS, rather. Well, actually, KVOS Channel 12 showed a lot of awesome late night schlock.
Is that a thing here in town?
Yeah, Tacoma, Washington.
Right.
Hello, America.
Hello, dude.
And my friends and I, because I was, okay, what is this movie? It was like 90.
The Good Son.
It's 94?
The Good Son we're watching.
93.
93. Okay, so this is like my
1993.
my graduating year. So yeah, I was probably stoned and laughing at the TV commercials because it's impossible to take Macaulay Culkin seriously. So I didn't really know what to expect because I'd actually never properly seen it, and if I had, I was probably stoned.
Right. I'm sure I was too, as I was when I watched it 3 or 4 days ago.
So the film starts out. So do we need to talk about the director or
Joseph Rubin? He sounds familiar to me. I don't know what else he's done. He's probably done other movies.
He has. He did Sleeping with the Enemy as one.
Oh,
Oh,
Julia
that was a
Roberts?
huge. We should do that
Big
one.
hit. By the
Yeah,
way,
it wasn't very good though, was it?
No,
I've never
it's
seen.
good.
Oh, Money Train.
by the way, in this movie,
Ooh,
I
Money
also
Train.
did remember that it had a lot of behind the scenes controversy. I don't know if you two are aware
I don't
of any
know
of
what
that.
is what is the controversy you keep referring to?
Well,
is it because it's a Macaulay Culkin
that
being a
too,
crazy guy?
but also things involving the stage dad and stuff like that. Kit Culkin, who was Macaulay's dad.
Right, he's one of those crazy.
Yeah, and there was all kinds of. It was a behind the scenes production nightmare.
Oh, The Stepfather. I love The Stepfather.
That's not what I was pointing at.
Oh,
that's a great movie.
I
The
was
Stepfather.
actually he's done a couple of my favorite movies. He did Dreamscape.
Well, I also remember this film had a lot of behind the scenes controversy. You know, I read a lot. You know, just reading celebrity news and the '90s stuff.
That's
and
all
of
you
course,
do is read those celebrity magazines, right? That's all you're reading.
That's all. It's my only reading.
Cut them up and glue them to the wall.
That's it. Yeah.
They tell you things.
But he uses
I put
his
them in
tongue to paste it to the
binders.
wall.
Yeah, it's like the father basically he had a ruless Macaulay Culkin in real life. His father was a ruthless stage father, and
Kit
I
Carson or
believe
something like that.
Culkin. Kit Culkin.
Bit of a Kittler.
And
Culkin.
from what I actually,
Kitty. They call
yeah,
him Kitty
it was
for
a real.
short.
He was really a notorious stage dad who was high on his son's success from Home
Yes.
Alone and other films.
Was
that
he like
but
an
especially
interfering
Home
kind
Alone.
of guy?
Yes,
Kind of
interfering
like-
kind of guy. And this film was actually written by an acclaimed novelist from the UK, Ian McEwan. McEwan.
Oh, I got Ian McKellen. Ian McEwan, you're
Ian
right.
McEwan. He
Not
was.
Ian McKellen.
No.
McCullough.
Sorry, Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Ian
Yes,
McEwan
Gandalf
is
wrote it.
an acclaimed author, and he was contacted on the success of the novel, which name slips my mind. It's got child in the title. It slips my mind.
Problem Child?
He had a very but he had a very successful novel, a dark novel involving a child, stuff like that, an abduction.
Child's Play.
And
Child 44. That's what.
Sorry, Alex.
20th Century Fox approached him to write an art film. They wanted to do a low-budget art film with no stars about a child being the epitome of evil.
Kind of like an Omen kind of thing.
Kind of, but not like demon and possessed. Just
Right.
basically a sociopathic kid. This was
Like a Bad
originally
Seed.
going to be a film with, yes, it was going to be like The Bad Seed. It was going to be originally a low-budget film, no stars except for Mary
So
Steenburgen.
nobody in it at all.
And no big stars except for Mary Steenburgen. And what happened was Kit
Mary
Culkin
Steenburgen.
got wind of this project and really wanted Macaulay to star in it. So he
Foul
refused
wind.
to let them make Home Alone 2 with him unless they let him star in this movie. And then the film went through tons of rewrites to the point where the author, Ian McEwan, actually put out an open
Ian
letter
McKellen.
in like the New York Times or something denouncing the film and all the changes.
Okay, so to clarify,
Yeah.
because if I were listening to this podcast,
Yes.
this is not, because I had always assumed it was a remake of The Bad Seed.
It's not.
Because-
It's
because
not
it-
intended as a remake of The Bad Seed. It was
Because
gonna.
it's like the title sounds so similar.
It was going to explore. It was
does.
going to explore that similar theme. I mean, I'm sure it was influenced, but it's obviously influenced by it. But all I'm saying is this film is a lot more slick and commercial than was originally intended. It was originally supposed to be a much more subtle art film about an evil kid.
And that makes a lot of sense.
And for example, the daughter, they had to write in a part for the kid's sister and stuff like that. It
God.
kept
It was
changing.
actually
And the
Macaulay
budget,
Culkin's sister.
yeah, and when Macaulay Culkin signed on, and then all these other actors that he's the only big star in it, but I mean Elijah Wood was an up and coming young kid. But
David
Macaulay,
Morse is in it.
true, but Macaulay's appearance in this film on the heels of Home Alone turned it into a multi-million-dollar movie when it wasn't intended
Which
to
is
be.
you know what? And I'm so glad that you gave us this backstory, because there is something so wrong with this fucking movie, and it's not. Well, and we're gonna get into it, because these are the most notes I've had
Really?
on one yet.
These are the least notes I have for mine.
This movie, I was flummoxed. From the beginning to the end, because I didn't know what the hell they were getting at, and why everything was supposed to be so important. And I think if it had a lesser budget, and a bunch of, I shouldn't say nobodies, but non-famous actors in it.
Maybe puppets or maybe puppies. So it's done with puppies.
Yeah, it would have been better with puppets or puppies.
Yeah.
And what most movies would.
Yeah. It's true.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that actually kind of validates my confusion.
Because I even remember there was a lot of controversy, because eventually Macaulay Culkin, I mean, you can look this up online, I'm sure he ended up doing one of those kind of, you can divorce your parents. He eventually got rid of the dad because he was interfering. Yeah, he was interfering with his
Eric
career, and also that too, and also the other thing too. Even I remember he bailed out of a planned Oscar appearance because there was a nasty joke that was going to be about his father.
He wasn't up for an Oscar. Was
No, he was going to present an Oscar one year, and he pulled out last minute because it involved a monologue that made fun of his own dad.
Kind of a fucked up family then.
Yeah. So there was all this, a lot of this was mentioned at the time about, and I think that's even when I first learned about the whole kind of blackmailing, Kit Culkin blackmailing the studio to make Macaulay the star of this film, because I remembered around the time, I think it was even around when I read when Macaulay was separating from his dad legally or getting rid of his guardianship, whatever you do.
Yeah.
In those situations, I remember reading in trade papers or whatever at the time saying they cited his interference with the movie The Good Son and stuff.
If you look at Macaulay Culkin's very few adult films, appearances in films as an adult, I've only seen
Party Monster. Is that
I haven't seen Party Monster just because it looks icky.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a really icky story, and
it just looks gross.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
And also, movies about nightclubs just never do it for me.
Yeah, they can.
I like Party Monster. It's worth a watch.
I'll eventually check it out. No, I was actually thinking of Saved. Is that the one? It takes place in the Christian school.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And he plays a kid in the wheelchair.
I don't know.
He's terrific in it.
Yeah.
But he definitely looks like a young man who has been through some shit.
Well,
he's 23 in the movie, and he looks like he got back from Vietnam.
Well, when you're a kid star and you making all this money and you're insanely famous, it's gonna fuck you up left, right, and center. There's very few kids who survive that.
Very few. Kurt Russell seems okay.
Ron Howard,
Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Even
Kirk Cameron.
I think the jury's out.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
By the way, that is a section we could have is pure
fucked up kids.
Just pure flicks. I mean Christian movies.
We don't have any of those.
All of the Kirk Cameron.
What do they call Left Behind?
We don't have any of those.
Yeah, Left Behind. I've seen a few of them.
Yeah.
And they're.
I'm not gonna pay for those. I'm not gonna bring those in the store. I'd be embarrassed to have them.
What you do is you tell them that you're struggling with.
Who?
With porn addiction or something. The Pure Flix people, you phone up and go I need your movies or I'm going to go to hell, and then them being good Christians won't charge you anything.
But I still don't want them in the store. And they know that you own a
video store, so and then we put it up on the wall and go look at these terrible movies.
I still don't want them in the store.
So shall we get into so Alex clearly, as usual,
he knows a little bit about the movie.
Way more about the movie we're doing than you or I.
Then it's actually necessary.
And the weird thing is, I knew a lot of this before I even saw this movie. I just remembered all this stink at the time. I also remember critics being outraged that the top kid star at the time was playing associate.
Roger Ebert in particular, he thought this movie was vile. I've never seen a worse review.
Really?
Okay, well,
Siskel hated it too.
Roger Ebert's this kid's doing these awful things, and the thing is, kids are gonna go see it, even though it is.
Oh, if that's their argument, kids are gonna go see it and then start shooting at dogs, start pushing their moms.
99% of the time, I would agree with you. but I think they might have a point when it's Macaulay Culkin doing the horrible things.
No, you can't blame. It's like
the film's
like,
rated R, so no kids were going to see it in
Yeah,
the theater.
but whatever.
Well,
a lot of movies are like I saw Beverly Hills Cop when I was 11. You know.
Fair enough.
I saw Cannibal Holocaust when I was 4.
Well, this
and look at you now.
Yeah.
You own a weird island. I actually have not seen Cannibal.
I'm kidding.
And this film, by the way, I mean, was a big hit, and I didn't hear of too many good son rampages.
It's all that bullshit with like Judas Priest,
Exactly.
making kids, have
weird
devil orgies.
Hey man, I'm not a square. I'm just saying in this one particular case, there might be some credence to that argument.
Not at all. Anyways, let's actually talk about the movie. Okay,
yes.
So the movie starts.
Yes, the movie starts with
And,
some images flickering across the screen.
Well, it starts with the
Frodo playing
Paramount
soccer,
Pictures or whatever, and I'm like, it's pretty good for so
yeah,
far.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh no, but before
I
we
always like the logos.
Before we get into
logos, get me excited about watching the movie.
And I was excited because I just got this new widescreen television.
Ooh, widescreen.
And I was like, let's break this thing in with the good son.
Yeah.
I started laughing even before the first visuals started because the opening credit sequence, even for 1993, is so shoddily done.
I don't remember it.
Oh God, it's like a black screen, and the font is like Comic Sans. It's supposed.
I'm laughing. I don't know what that is.
It looks all kiddie, like a kid's scrawl.
Or mine, maybe.
Yeah, well, you have a kid.
Yeah, but he gets a better.
Where it's like backwards. I'm surprised there weren't like backwards S's and things. So I started laughing there, and then I realized that David Warner gets like third billing.
David Morse.
Oh yes, David Morris.
Yes.
David Warner, that would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor David Morris.
From In the Mouth of Madness. Am I correct in saying that?
No,
I'm not correct.
It's David Warner from.
That's what I just said.
Madness.
Yeah.
David Morris is from.
No. He said David Warner, and I said from the Mouth of Madness. And then David Morris is from St. Elsewhere and The Good Son.
David Morris.
And The Good Son and
Oz.
The Indian Runner by Sean Penn.
Yeah. No,
a bunch of Sean Penn.
I like David Morris.
A movie that you guys probably hate good. That I like, The Green Mile. He's in that.
I hate that movie.
But I have a soul and you don't.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so poor David Morse is getting like fourth billing to two.
Well, he's hardly in it though.
Two kid actors, and also I noticed at the end, because I'm bound to forget this, Rory Culkin. Rory Culkin actually gets a screen credit.
Was that the little sister?
No, Rory Culkin was the photograph of younger Macaulay Culkin.
Right.
Not of younger Macaulay. Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Right, dead brother.
So hold on. So you get a fucking screen credit and this is where this Kid Culkin shit that Alex is talking about starts to come in, because I'm like, wait, there wasn't even like a flashback scene. It was just a photograph, and you get a fucking screen credit?
Yeah, I guess.
I've had lines in TV shows where I didn't get a fucking screen credit.
So it opens with Frodo playing some soccer. God. He scores a nice goal, and then he sees his dad tromping across the field, and he stops playing. And I found that funny for some reason. He just stops playing because he's like tromping across the field, but I guess he's taken to his dying mom.
Because he knows mom's sick, and when dad's showing up, walking towards him, looking like he's going to take him away.
But the way it was done was comical. It had no dramatic effect. It was hilarious.
It was, yes. And then they cut to he's sitting by mom's deathbed.
Yeah.
And she's about to die.
Well, they go into the hospital. You see them walking in.
Sure.
But we don't need all those details. Yes, they're in the hospital. He's on the side of the bed.
Interior, exterior.
You see old people
hospital,
laying on stretchers.
But it's funny because they're having a conversation and he says, I'm not going to die. Sonny, Frodo, I'm not going to die.
And if I do, it's all your fault.
Yeah. And then
she dies 5 minutes later.
Smash cut. They're at the funeral.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I burst out laughing.
That's not really what he says. He says he's not going to let her die.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not going to let. No. She says she's not going to. He says I'm not going to let you die.
That's right.
Yeah. And
then the next scene immediately is the funeral.
Okay. I don't have kids and I've never died. Seems to me if your kid says like I'm not going to let you die, you say something to the effect of there's some things you just can't control.
Yeah.
Please, when I do die in 5 minutes, don't carry this through the rest of the movie as a cheap plot device.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Not a ploy,
so then she drops dead, and then you're right. Smash cut to the funeral.
Yeah, in the desert.
Was it?
I didn't know they were
Was
in the desert. Yeah.
Oh wait!
And by
no.
the way, the
And
opening shot's in the desert.
The opening shot is some kid in the middle of the
Well,
fucking
it's
desert.
Elijah Wood.
Well, yeah, okay,
And that's why he's in the desert, because it's where his mom was buried.
Well, that's where he lives too, right? I guess.
He doesn't live there. Well, lives near there, I suppose, but she's
Lives
been
near the
buried in
desert.
the desert, yeah.
Yeah, why would they bury in the desert? Yeah, I'll have another one.
Her
Please.
wishes.
It was his
They
command.
seem to be married or in the, yeah. And the
Is
brother-in-law,
anyone drinking this
incidentally,
stuff?
I'll have a IPA, please.
and his brother is, David Morse's brother is, the actor slips my mind, but on the 80s,
Yeah.
he was in a TV show called Hardcastle McCormick.
Oh, I remember that.
Was he Hardcastle or McCormick?
No, he was McCormick.
Was he? Okay.
Brian Keith was
Really?
Judge
I like Brian.
Hardcastle.
Hardcastle.
And
Okay,
the
so-
ex-con sidekick, they drove a Coyote car. His name was McCormick.
Was it made out of a coyote?
No, but that was the name of the car.
Oh.
Back when all
know that.
PI
It was named
shows had
named
that
after
cool
Wile E.
car.
Coyote because he was always on the highway.
Right.
So, okay, so there's no voice. There's definitely a voiceover at the end. Anytime there's a voiceover, the movie sucks,
Well,
unless it's Lord of
yeah.
the Rings.
And then it's.
I see a connection here.
So,
Yo.
oh, you don't like Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Frodo.
Elijah.
Oh, Frodo. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
So.
oh, Frodo. Oh, Frodo.
Oh, Mr. Frodo. Shit. Quick side. There's a moment, Return of the King, when it closes in on Sean Astin's lips, and he just goes, "Share the load," and every time I laugh. Oh yeah, so I wrote down here in my notes, kid's mom dies, we see nothing. Okay, so yeah, so it's supposed to be this huge deal.
But it's really not much. It's just it's a funeral in the
then-
desert. And
and so
it
Dad-
lasts for like a second.
A second. And then Dad, we don't know anything about this family.
Yeah.
And then Dad, the next scene is time to get in the car so I can take you to your fucking uncle's
No,
house.
that's not the next
Because
scene. The
I'm
next
going to
scene is
Japan.
Is that where you went?
Yeah, with Japan.
McCormick from Hardcastle
No, it was
McCormick.
David
They're at
Morse.
like the wake.
It was David Moore. Oh, okay.
I
yeah.
understand that.
Sorry.
He's saying how David Morse should go
He
seal
talked
a deal
him
in
into it
Japan.
because it would provide for him and his kids for the
Apparently,
rest of their lives.
they don't know what the line of business is, but he's a businessman. If he seals this deal, he'll, it'll be a 2-week business trip. In Japan, he'll never have to.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's just an excuse to get David Morse, his dad, out of the picture.
That's
Is
right.
Is he an assassin or something?
Yes.
What 2-week?
Yes.
Like,
If he can seal the deal, they're set for life,
If
and
you
they'll
go
never have
there-
to leave the kid again.
and you sell this Fukushima nuclear power plant. Don't ask any questions,
Yeah.
and we'll give you
We'll be fine.
give you a truck full of money.
Yeah. So David Morse is driving Frodo through the desert, takes a ferry, and all of a sudden they're in fucking Alaska
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. No,
Like
they're-
it goes from the desert to snow riddled.
Well, it's like Maine. It looks
It was-
like.
it was in Minnesota.
And he makes the video game joke, which is in every movie in the 80s.
And it's still now, I
where
guess.
it's like,
Now it's iPads
if you're
and
done blowing
phones
up
and-
the galaxy, maybe you want to talk to your old man while
Yeah.
he's driving through the desert.
Well, that's a universal truth, isn't it?
But it
To
was,
kids
it was
these
like
days,
that
and
the
kids
fucking
back
kid,
then, look at it.
his kid's face is buried in
It's
his
a-
ColecoVision or whatever, and it was beautiful. I love the desert, and I've driven
Right.
through like Utah and places like that, and it's amazing looking.
Yeah.
I would grab that
It's a
phone,
cl-
just throw it, whatever it was, and throw it out the
It's a
car.
cliche, though.
It's a total cliche.
Okay, so, and then, yeah, then
Well,
there-
it was
then-
also to establish there's a bit of a disconnect between the father and the son.
I don't know if there was a well, okay.
That was the idea because he pulls the car over and has a little chat with him about, I know you're feeling sad. Your
What
mom
the
just
hell was
died."
I doing when this scene was happening?
I think you're clipping your toenails. again.
I thought maybe I was looking at my phone. Okay, whatever. So they take this ferry over, and all of a sudden they're in
It's like it went from desert to snow.
Nantucket or something.
They
It's
explain
crazy.
they drove through several
Yeah,
states.
but it took a while to explain that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, not until they arrive.
Yeah, I have it written here. Took a ferry from the desert to Alaska.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what, and it was like just a tiny ferry.
And they get there. Okay. Yeah. Sent to another house right after mom dies.
I also have written a number of times throughout my notes. Holy shit! This music sucks.
What do I have written here in huge letters?
The music is hilarious.
The music is like
it's
never appropriate.
No, it's
You saw who was credited.
Is
though, right?
Elmer Bernstein?
Yeah, Leonard Bernstein. yeah.
Leonard Bernstein?
Yeah.
Well, it's like something that you'd expect in like Anne of Green Gables,
Yeah.
or like what's
Maybe
that?
Driving Miss Daisy.
Anyways,
this big swelling.
it's swelling,
yeah.
feel-good
And
music.
It's totally wrong for this movie.
It's absolute. If it is Sondheim. Sorry, was it Sondheim?
No, Bernstein.
Bernstein. I'm wondering if maybe they just found a bunch of his recordings.
He'd been dead for 4 years.
He'd been dead
of
for
that.
4 years, and they just cobbled it together.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, he
Cast off from
couldn't
other movies.
have watched, because my understanding of scoring films is you sit there and you watch the movie without any music,
and then you write music for it,
and then you conduct the orchestra,
which to me seems ridiculous. Like, do you imagine like being in the orchestra and you say you're the tuba player or whatever, and you come in and you got to watch this dreadful movie and you got to play this horrible music.
No, you don't get to watch.
No, you're just gonna play.
No, the conductor is the one watching the asteroid belt sequence from Empire Strikes Back, and you're playing this exciting music, but you can never look over your shoulder
because you'll stab someone with. But it was the music was all through
Elmer Bernstein, pardon me. It was Elmer Bernstein.
That's what I said.
That's right, you did.
Yeah, you said Oliver or something.
As
no,
opposed
I didn't.
to
I said Leonard by accident.
His other brother.
As opposed to Tito Bernstein.
Yes.
My other brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl did the music.
The music was fucking like just the worst, and every time the music, like I just noticed it, which is a problem. Which is a problem
when you really notice the music like that. It's a.
So he gets so they get to this New England house, the Stephen King
giant
house.
Fucking house.
The mansion.
Yeah, for like 4 people live there. And you could house like a few hockey teams in there.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Everything's
It'd be
hockey
weird,
with you, isn't
it?
What I did notice is now there's this trope, and because I really remember 90s movies better than 80s movies.
Right. Well,
because I was a little kid in the 80s, but like 90s I was like a young adult.
Smoking weed.
I swear to God, this house has turned up in like I wouldn't be surprised actually if it's the same house from Sleeping with the Enemy, because every thriller in the 90s had to take place in a house on a cliff.
Big, beautiful house, maybe in New England somewhere.
In New England.
Yeah.
There's that one Jack Ryan movie.
Is New England
Patriot Games takes place in a house like that.
Is New England a state, or is it just a place? Like an area?
I think it's New England.
Yeah.
So they invented it.
But it's not a state like Connecticut or New Hampshire.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Here's they should if it's like talking to Americans, but we don't know.
Maybe some Americans can write Dylan and tell him what New England is.
There's like 50 fucking DylanReimer@gmail.com.
Yeah, or send your mail to Dylan Reimer care at Black Dog Video in Vancouver. He'll get it.
What the hell is New England?
Yeah, what the fuck's New England?
I think it's near Connecticut.
It's Boston. It's in Massachusetts because the New England Patriots are the football team for Boston.
Right.
So I have to assume
so it's like a suburb of Boston.
Well, not only it's a suburb. I think it's like a weird area.
But it's
kind of
Google.
I think it's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle.
It's where like rich assholes live.
Right. Anyway, so he meets the family, and he hits it off with Home Alone.
Yeah. Well, no, but okay. How do we first see Home Alone?
What's Home Alone doing when we first see him?
He's wearing a terrifying white paper mache mask.
Oh right, yeah. I was hoping I was going to come into play sometime later, but I don't think it shows up again.
No, it's on Mr. Freeway. He takes the mask and puts it on Mr. Freeway.
Highway.
Or Mr. Highway.
Yeah, I like Mr. Highway.
Yeah,
I like Mr. Highway.
Yeah, so and of course so Home Alone is upstairs alone, and then it's like, oh, you met everyone else in the family.
Here's creepy Home Alone.
Here comes a kid wearing a terrifying paper mache mask.
I imagine as a kid you probably think that's funny and you're going to run around. Who knows? As an adult, you just think it's creepy and terrifying. Which I suppose that's the effect they're going for. But of course the orchestral score swells and it's like blah, 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 and it just kind of ruins everything. But so they hit it off, and Home Alone takes Frodo out to this creepy treehouse.
Oh, okay.
Well, not yet. They have dinner first. That's when the tension starts. Well, what? Macaulay kicks.
And he kicks him back, and they have fun.
Yeah, but when he kicks him, it's kind of maliciously, and then Elijah Wood kicks him back, and it's almost like
because he thinks that they're just having fun.
Yeah,
and you don't know where Home Alone's coming from.
And then they seem to be bonding and laughing and being friendly. Yes.
But they go to that terrifying treehouse.
What I love is, so Elijah Wood wakes up the next day.
Right.
And he's missed breakfast. And Home Alone and Kit Culkin's female progeny are outside. And so Elijah Wood sits down, and then Clueless is she's made this big breakfast. And so Elijah Wood sits down, and he's got this breakfast spread. And she's like, how did you sleep? And he's like, oh, whatever. And then you hear like, hey, come on outside. We're kids. We're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, see you at lunch. Ooh. And then Elijah Wood runs off. But he eats maybe one bite of this entire breakfast.
He's a kid.
He wants to go play.
He's a kid.
Well, what's the point of having him? Okay, it's not the fact that he's a kid. It's why even have the scene?
The scene makes no. It makes no.
Why not
difference,
have it open on the kids playing outside and then Elijah Wood comes out? Why have him sit down at this enormous fucking spread that the prop master had to, they had to cook the food for the movie? I swear to God, he maybe eats a bite of toast.
So he pissed off all the crew.
Well, I'm just saying,
there's kids starving in Korea, for Christ's sake.
Well, the mic.
Everyone's
It's a commentary on rich white kids and not giving a shit about third world.
I don't think it's a commentary on anything.
No, it's not. I'm just.
It was a
totally
stupid fucking mistake. And I'm guessing that Macaulay Culkin's fucking dad was interfering with the shoot. That's why I think this movie is the way it is.
This is what Macaulay Culkin wants. We also like all the toast has to be white and buttered on one side.
Mr. Culkin's rider.
No brown
Nintendo,
M&Ms.
no Sega. Don't say Sega around Mr. Culkin or Master Culkin if you really want to be. So then they get to the treehouse.
Which who the fuck built that treehouse at the top of the goddamn tree?
Oh my God!
It's like 50 feet in the air.
I laughed so hard.
I was actually scared watching them climb that.
I felt bad the cameraman. I was scared for the cameraman too.
Well, this director, he loves the crane shots. It's all crane shots. There's crane shots all over the place. So I'm sure he that was most of the budget was like the crane shots and the helicopter shots.
There is a shot in Natural Born Killers where Mickey and Mallory are standing on a bridge over a ravine. And the camera focuses on their face and it swings around. It goes out over the railing so that the camera is now over the ravine looking down at them.
Amazing.
And I had the same feeling of vertigo watching Elijah Wood climb this fucking... Because I thought, okay, maybe 5 or 6... Because he's climbing like a ladder of bits of wood that have been nailed into the tree.
Like with one nail or something like that.
And I had a closer look, and like the tree leans out over a cliff.
Did you get closer to your TV when you said you had a closer look?
No, I paused it and I actually looked.
Right.
And then
It's over a cliff.
Well, it's like a little embankment.
Right.
And then there are massive rocks. I don't know if you noticed the enormous rocks that are at the bottom.
I did not.
And then I'm like, okay, well maybe the treehouse is totally secure with railings and stuff. No, and you can't even. There isn't even a hole to climb.
No, you have to go.
You have to swing out.
Yeah, which is insane. It's
who would build this?
It's like you're watching Cliffhanger. It's crazy. I know who would build it and build it so poorly. And then once you got out there, it's like, how the fuck do you get down? Because you got to get back onto those rungs, which you can't.
Some of which snap off.
And it's so high. It's like 50 feet in the air.
Yeah,
it's a death trap. It's insane.
I remember Ebert citing that in his review.
Oh yeah.
That he Macaulay the playgrounds that they get to play on are like a nonstop. Death traps.
It's all death traps.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's like one of the Final Destination movies, but without.
There's no longer any credibility because what dad or mom is gonna build this fucking treehouse?
Well, this is when Macaulay Culkin says, because Frodo's worried about it. He goes, who cares? You're gonna die someday anyway.
Yes.
No, that's later with the cigarettes.
It's right here. It's right in the treehouse. Who cares? I got it written right here, man.
No. Okay.
What he says is because he says, "If I let you go, could you fly?"
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. You're right with the cigarettes. But they smoke the cigarettes in the treehouse.
No, they don't. They smoke it at the well.
Yeah, they smoke the cigarettes.
Okay, I guess I kind of.
He says, "If I let you go, could you fly?" Then he pulls them up into the treehouse. Macaulay pulls Elijah Wood. Right. By the way, that scene was always exploited in the trailer. Was always used in the trailer where
probably some more ominous.
The rung snaps off. Elijah Wood almost slips to his death. Macaulay's hanging on and says...
Well, he's broken bones.
Yeah, he says to him, could you, if I let you go, could you fly? Then he pulls him up into the treehouse and they start laughing and giggling.
Right. Oh, and that happens
like it was all a big joke.
Okay, in the first act, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Where Macaulay Culkin does something...
really creepy.
Yeah, he's like...
You just never know. I never got any sense that why he was doing what he was doing.
Okay, there's an elephant in the room that has not been addressed.
Where is it? I don't see an elephant.
Oh, it went away.
Oh, good. Whew. Man, I got me scared of it. Like he'd wreck the whole store if he was here.
Can we all agree that Macaulay Culkin is just a fucking terrible actor?
I can agree with that.
Kid actors almost always suck.
I just wanted to smash that kid's face in with a pipe. I just hated him in this movie.
And every single line that Macaulay Culkin delivers is so bland, and I even was like, well, maybe it works if he's a sociopath and he has no soul.
I think the problem is too because movies like this, they write dialogue for children to make them sound smarter than a child actually would be.
Yes.
They give them like adult dialogue.
Yeah.
And he's not a good actor, and it just comes across as sounding really terrible.
Now, I have a theory. Sorry.
Well, I'm done.
My theory is, now you've both seen Uncle Buck, right?
No.
No?
I have.
Oh, that's Macaulay Culkin.
Is he in that too?
I love Uncle Buck. Well, he's the youngest kid. He's probably about.
My kid has an Uncle Buck.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Should show him Uncle Buck.
I know.
Uncle Buck is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a really funny movie.
He used to call him Uncle Butt when he was really young.
I used to call my Uncle Joe Uncle Toe. That's what kids mistaking their uncles' names for body parts.
The best one.
I know. I'm Uncle Perineum to my nieces. They're very smart.
My brother's name is Brian, and when my kid was younger, he couldn't pronounce Brian, so he called him Uncle Garbage.
Uncle Garbage.
So from then on, from when he was like 3, he's been known as Uncle Garbage.
That's pretty great.
That's pretty great. It's really appropriate too. I hope my brother's listening to this.
Hi, Uncle Garbage.
Uncle Garbage.
Hello,
love you, Uncle
hi,
Garbage.
Uncle Garbage.
We love you.
So, do you remember Macaulay Culkin in Uncle Buck? Alex?
Yeah, I remember him in Uncle
He
Buck.
only has like 4 or 5 lines.
Was that before Home Alone?
He's
Must
about-
have been before Home Alone.
It's before Home Alone. In fact, I'm certain that Uncle Buck got him the Home Alone
For better or for worse,
role.
I guess.
And he's funny in Uncle Buck because he talks like an adult, but a very serious adult. And he's like 7 years old, and Uncle Buck has made him this lunch, and it's like a liverwurst sandwich. No, it's like
an adult food sandwich.
It's like adult, yeah, exactly, like all grown-up foods.
Right.
I don't even know, like a jar of
Watercress.
maraschino cherries or whatever,
and
and a whole head of lettuce.
Kind of adult eats that.
So he and all the kids look at him because he's a freak because he's got this weird lunch, and then 7-year-old Macaulay Culkin in Uncle Buck says, "Could I interest anyone at the table in a trade?" And then there's this like shot from above, and all the kids push their chairs all back at the same time. It's a very funny scene.
Yeah.
And
because nobody wanted to trade with him.
But all through Uncle Buck, this kid's character is talking in a serious grown-up way, even though he's a 7-year-old.
Right.
So then they take that and they made Home Alone, and you're so distracted by all of the cartoonish comedy. You've never seen Home Alone?
No.
Oh my God.
I was too old for these movies.
It's not even worth seeing, but I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that works in a John Hughes comedy, very broad comedy. But when you're doing a serious horror movie where you're supposed to be taking this character,
see, I didn't know this was a serious horror movie at all through the whole movie. I just was this supposed to be a drama, a horror? I guess there's no.
It was supposed to be a horror.
There was no sense of it being a horror movie.
But
the whole thing.
You can't really have throats getting slashed and stuff. See, this is the problem with it. Another problem is they don't want to lose. And Ebert was right in that. Your target audience is going to be a bunch of fucking 10-year-olds, even if it is restricted.
Because of Macaulay Culkin.
Because of Macaulay Culkin. That's why it would have worked better with as you were saying, the original treatment, Alex, where it's like...
There's a cat playing them.
Where it's a bunch of fucking nobodies,
right.
Because then it can be restricted and there are no expectations. But this all comes back to my original point, is that Macaulay Culkin is a terrible actor,
yes.
and he is the only reason this movie is the big budget movie that it is.
I hope he's not listening to this because he's going to feel really sad.
I'm sure he knows he sucks.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's get back to the movie anyway.
No, but so he's not scary because he's not convincing.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of scenes where, the tension's building and Macaulay Culkin's doing a little more dastardly things. There's a scene when he's got a homemade crossbow for some reason.
Oh.
There's no way this fucking 10-year-old's going to make a crossbow.
So, sorry, should we, just before we get to the crossbow, should we talk about the smoking scene more than we have?
Of course.
Well, they're a
well, they get chased by a dog, too.
Yeah, that's a weird scene.
They get chased by a pit bull across a bridge.
They live in this, I don't know, it's not a big town, but it's not a small town either, but there's no other people in this whole town.
Yeah, and why would pit bulls roam free?
And especially on
the bridge.
When they can trap someone on the bridge.
No, it wasn't a bridge, it was the dock. And there was a no trespassing sign, and they went through it, and they went down.
Still, though, you shouldn't have a vicious hound to rip children apart because you're trespassing.
This is like the Hound of the Baskerville.
It's like the Dracula's Devil Dog.
And I'm wondering about Devil Dog, the Hound from Hell. One day we'll do that.
Mm.
Yeah, surely there's other people mooring their houseboats, not just this
or
one guy.
maybe keeping an eye on this dog.
This drooling.
Yeah, and it chases. There's no way that they would have got away from that.
And
dog.
also, them
was like,
getting away from it. It's Sue's thing. It's funny is that Macaulay taunts the dog over a fence that the dog could easily hop over.
Jump over.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was a dog, I could jump over.
I wondered. I actually like kudos to the dog trainer because that scene. It's like Macaulay Culkin's face is right up against this snarling, drooling, fangy dog.
There might you remember that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where he falls into the snake pit?
Glass.
The glass, but you can actually see the glass in the in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe there's some. Yeah, maybe
or the dog had a leash on it.
The dog probably definitely had a leash on it.
Definitely.
And probably it'd be like tasers. It was just off camera.
But Elijah Wood doesn't know that this dog is there, and Mac is like, let's go walking down this way, and all of a sudden they get chased by a snarling, horrifying pit bull.
Which it's a stupid scene because that dog, you can see the dog gain them so fast because the dog's a little faster than children running.
They have twice as many legs.
Yes, exactly. Well, although if you combine the two kids, they have 4 legs.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hanging on to one another.
Yeah, but only if they're...
that would slow them down, actually, I think. But anyways...
Only if they're holding hands.
They get away, which is improbable, but yeah, and so that sets up a scene later on in the movie. And so is that after they go to the well or before they go to the well?
They go to the well.
And they have a smoke. They go.
So
they
run away from the snarling pit bull. They close the gate. The dog can't get at them.
And of course, the well is foreshadowing. You're thinking, oh fuck,
something's
Frodo's going to end up in the well, or little sister's going to end up in the well, or someone's going to. I thought
somebody would wind up in the well.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with that.
Whoever ends up in the well won't end up well.
Well, the dog wound up in the well.
Yes.
So then they're so he's got this like.
So
he's got this secret little tin. Mac has this secret little tin box.
Yeah,
with contraband in it.
It's just smokes.
And it's just cigarettes.
Yeah.
And we all had those.
But a little foreshadowing. You're like, there's a line that I thought was earlier because I missed a bit of the movie apparently. We're gonna die anyway. Whatever. Anyways.
He also grills him about what it was like to see his mother dead.
Yeah.
He's getting a little inappropriate.
He starts asking about Elijah Wood when they're at the well if he saw his mother when she was dead and what she looked like. Claimed to be scientific, and then he talks about seeing his own younger brother dead. Because he had a younger brother who drowned, which is mentioned a bit earlier in the movie.
And you just know, of course, he killed him.
He just lights up a smoke and
he can't smoke it.
And it's out of the blue. He's like, "What did your mother look like when she died?" and then he talks about his kid brother, and of course you know that he's one of these weird kids who
killed his brother.
One in a million stories that you read in the newspaper, and then he offers Elijah Wood the smoke. And Elijah Wood says, "No, I don't want to get cancer."
Mm.
And then Macaulay Culkin goes, "Why? You're just gonna
gonna
die one day anyway." And it's like, what are you, 9?
And then Frodo goes, "Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah, right.
Whatever, Ring of Power." We're just hanging out at a creepy well.
There's some really terrible music for this part of the scene too. I wrote down.
And Macaulay Culkin persists though. Like he sounds like Nietzsche or some shit. He starts waxing philosophical about he keeps talking about death.
It was fake, and it didn't lend any sort of gravitas to any kind of foreshadowing, any like, ominous threat that might have been coming along. Which it's coming along anyways, but because he's such a not good actor. Is that proper term?
He's a hack.
Yeah, you couldn't pull it off. It didn't work at all. But anyway, then he takes him to his little shack, a little shed where he's got like
wait
pipes
no.
No.
Are you going to talk about the
crossbow?
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Well, we should be there.
No.
Remember, this movie's not that long.
Stop number 3 on the childhood tour of mortality is the cliff. To watch his mom standing and staring out at the ocean.
Don't they pass by? They see her doing it.
Yeah. They creep up on her like a couple of.
She's standing like almost right in the fucking edge. Who does that?
I know. It's like something out of a
stupid novel.
Yeah, it looks like it should be like a Merchant Ivory production or whatever.
The French Lieutenant's woman or something like that.
That's exactly it. The French Lieutenant. I wish I couldn't place it, but that's precisely the poster I was thinking of.
She's looking like mournfully over the ocean for her love to come to her, or someone that has passed on, or something like that. But she's standing way too close to the edge.
She's like right.
You don't need to stand that close to the edge.
Yeah, but she doesn't know anyone's watching.
But still.
And they don't have any signs saying you might fall off this cliff.
I don't know.
Your kid might push you off this cliff. Spoiler alert.
Personally, if I'm in a situation like that, if I look up anywhere, if I look up, I shift my where I am physically, you know, because I'd lose my balance a little bit.
Yeah.
All she has to do is like maybe we'll look at a seagull flying over, or maybe like the sunset, and like down she goes.
When I was in Chicago, I went to the 99th floor of the Sears Tower. And
Couldn't go to the 100?
They wouldn't let us. And I paid full price. And I actually made a fucking beef about this. I'm like, I paid full price to get to the 100th floor. And they're like, whatever. Anyways. So
stupid Chicagoans.
And
Sorry, Chicagoans. I love Chicago.
It was like that scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
So I did the Ferris Bueller's Day Off thing where I put my head up against the glass and I looked down. And even then, knowing there was like glass, like probably like, I don't know, a couple of inches thick.
Yeah, not even that.
Even then it threw me off.
Yeah.
And that was glass, like, Nobody
I don't like
stands.
Heights.
Well, yeah.
No, I don't like heights. Although I went skydiving once just to see if I could cure my fear of heights.
Yeah. Did it work?
No, it was the most.
Or did it just make it worse?
It was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. I'll never do it again.
I once put on a beard of bees to get over my fear of bees.
How'd that work?
I'm more. Well, now I'm terrified of beards and bees. Stay away from me.
I learned a lot about the beards and the bees that day.
The beards and the.
Oh dear.
It's not bad.
No, that's actually not bad.
It's not a bad pun.
No, it's okay.
So Cliff Mom is standing there, and so Elijah Wood is like.
We'll allow that one.
What are you thinking? Yes. What do you think? Why is your mom standing there? It's like, oh, probably thinking about my dead baby brother.
Yeah, John.
I was there when he drowned. Oh, remember the one I just mentioned like 5 minutes ago? We were smoking by the well.
By the well.
You know.
And why is there a fucking well in a graveyard? That's a terrible place to put a well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because like all the bodies are going to leach into the water. You're not going to drink that. It's going to be like full of scales and
they're not saying they're using the well anymore.
No, but you never put a well in a graveyard.
Why would you ever put a well in a graveyard?
I did think that, but
it never even crossed my mind.
It's a terrible idea. Like, because wells were originally made to get water to drink and wash your hair.
If anything,
brush your teeth.
You should have a pop machine in a graveyard.
Yeah, because people love to drink, carbonated beverages where they're more.
And it's above ground.
Yeah, above ground. So the key is above ground. Because you're digging down.
You should have a still in a graveyard for people to,
Okay, Hawkeye.
Yeah, homemade still like a mash.
So now we get to your favorite part, Darren.
Oh yes, the crossbow fucking thing.
So he's made this crossbow,
which is an insanely powerful crossbow.
So take us on the journey. So what happens next?
Well, they go to this little shack that I guess is a shed out by the house, an enormous house where the parents have apparently never been.
And it's a terrifying shack too.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, 'cause you should have had bones hanging in it and stuff. There's like pipes to build pipe bombs. There's he's built like there's all kinds of crazy. So they introduced this homemade crossbow, which if I remember correctly has like a hand crank on it.
Yeah.
It's like the fucking crossbow they used to shoot dragons in Game of Thrones. It's insanely powerful. And so they take it out into the woods.
Or Lord of the Rings.
Or Lord of the Rings.
It's the one they take down Smog with. So again, another Lord of the Rings.
That's a Hobbit, I think.
Oh yeah, right. Hobbit,
Yeah, those shitty Hobbit movies.
And it shoots, like bolts.
Yeah, I don't know even what those were. Like just like big, like
bolts and screws.
But no, these were like 4 or 5 inch long bolts that you'd nail like a railroad tie.
Yeah, it was like a washer. It had like a washer. It was like a screw with like a washer.
No, it was just a giant fucking like iron bolt that probably weighed about 3 or 4 pounds.
I don't think there weren't those big ones from the side of the railroad.
I don't know where they were from. I don't know what they were, but that's what they reminded me of. But so they go and they take it out into the woods because that's a good thing to do with a giant powerful crossbow, and they line up a cat, and the cat's just sitting there as cats do, and Frodo's like, well, we're not gonna, and Home Alone's like, oh, I'm just gonna scare it, and of course he fires at it and misses, and the cat doesn't flinch because it's a fucking cat and he's stupid and they don't know anything, and then
that's debatable.
And then I love cats. I've always I love cats. I've got 2 cats myself, but they're stupid. They're stupid or brilliant. I can't decide.
No, they just know that fucking Macaulay Culkin's not going to hit him with a stupid washer.
No, they didn't even notice. They can't even notice. I was wondering how they filmed that too, because they showed the cat and then the bolt just slamming into the tree above his head.
It does embed itself in the tree.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like take 4 and they've already went through 3 cats.
I thought like stop motion, like.
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive. And he's a damn good hairstylist.